Hi Truthers, welcome back to my channel, The Wellbeing Guinea Pig and Nutritious Lives. Today I wanted to talk to you about the amounts of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, neurotransmitter help that I used all as a crutch. Today, I've discarded a lot of the products that I used and the things that I did. This is just simply on supplement form, but obviously in another video I think I'm going to talk about the therapies that I tried when I was going through anxiety and depression, and pretty much the same thing, apart from the TMS, which did, I felt, helped a lot the first time I went through anxiety and depression, and I put a lot of my healing down to the TMS, which I talked about. I went on to the radio to talk about TMS and these natural non-toxic therapies. However, the second time around, so the last time I went through this in lockdown 1, when lockdown initially happened, I had 2 cycles of TMS, and I think because again, like, my mind was so desperate to have this pain and anxiety taken away, that time around it really heightened my anxiety, because I felt like it wasn't working. So I remember actually being on the machine and having the machine attached to my brain and feeling so much anxiety while I was attached to the machine, which I'd never experienced before. But I'm not poo-pooing any natural treatment. I think if it works, I think the only problem with things like TMS or therapies that claim to fix all is cost. It's thousands, and who can really afford that? Especially if you could imagine, if you associate that, sorry about the appliances in the background, but if you associate that with your healing, then you could imagine how you would attach that to, if you were to ever go through that again, then you would need to spend thousands again. And again, the same with regards to how I felt about going into an NHS mental hospital, because my association was of healing. It helped and it aided in my healing. It gave me a chance to have a rest from my surroundings, from the pressure of being a mom, from the pressure of internal pressure, really, with like I said in the last video, or the last couple of videos, with so many pressures and triggers that go on in our society nowadays. I was able to have a rest. However, like I pointed out, that then there was a regime of pharmaceutical interventions which I didn't particularly want, but I didn't have a choice. So you can see how the mind, it's almost like there's a payoff. You associate something with the healing, but then you feel like that's your only fix-all, which is totally untrue. It's a total fabrication, because we can heal without putting anything into our bodies. As I said in the last video, I think it's very important to support the body while it's going through stress. So say, for example, this is real time for me now. It's not a sob story and I'm not being a victim, but this is where I'm at today. So my daughter has started back at school, but she's starting senior school. And my other daughter, who's supposed to be starting back today, she's poorly in bed, and she has been sick, and I didn't sleep a wink. So this is very much, when I talk to you about this stuff, this is me going through it real time, and if you can see, these were the things that I would reach. So if I didn't have a sleep in the past, I would have reached for all this to I feel horrible in the moment. I didn't sleep. My daughter's off. I should be performing better for my eldest daughter who's starting at senior school, and did I think of this and did I think of that? You know, you could only imagine. But real time now, what I did with not having any sleep and circumstances not being the best, I've just sat in the moment and just said, you know, I didn't sleep, things aren't perfect, this is my reality right now, this isn't the rest of my life, but it is where I'm at right now, and I've got a choice. Do I run into feeling uncomfortable and I'm going to take this and I'm going to take that, in hopes that in that moment, for these moments, it's gonna take this anxiety away? And it does sometimes in the moment, you know, like I said to you, in the moment sometimes, reaching for that glass of wine, if you're anything like me. My friends know I like a little drinky poos and a giggle. But however, you know, it is very tempting to look at these products, for example, you know, CBD, and this is, I've kind of separated these off here because I think these were the less prevalent ones for me, the ones that I would use less frequent. But however, I just tried everything. You know, like I said, I read something that I could try that was new, and I would just rush in and say, that's the one that's going to do this. But these are the ones that I used more consistently, and it's a good place to start with regards to the CBD, and trust me, I am a massive fan of the sacred herb, which is, you know, anything from the marijuana plant. I'm a big fan of, and again, I will sort of just leave a little disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor. This is through my own experience, what I went through, and I'm just passing on this knowledge to you. So just a little disclaimer before I carry on, and also to say, I wanted to actually mention none of these companies that I've used I've got any affiliation to. I'm non-biased with, well, I say I'm non-biased. There are a few brands, because of being a supplementation advisor and knowing that, you know, I need to find quality brands, and I've tried and tested, right? So I would say, and you can see there's a lot of now products. I will say that is a really good company. I don't get paid to say that, but you know, it is Solgar. There's a few companies that, as a supplementation advisor, I would recommend. But what I wanted to mention is, I'm not poo-pooing or you know, telling anyone else to go out and buy a certain product from a certain company. This is just what I reached for, which was a good company for me at the time. So anyway, CBD. So I love CBD. It felt so good to reach for CBD in my mind because of how special I think the plant is. However, again, it was a crutch, you know, and you can see all these different forms, different tastes. These are, and this particular one, there's different types of CBD. They are a very tried and tested brand. It's nothing to do with the company at all. Absolutely amazing company. However, for what I was using it for, yeah, it was the crutch, you know. It was something that I would use particularly at night, to calm me down, but I would use it through the day also. But yeah, just because nothing works instantaneously, and this is what I was going for. And you can see, you know, logically you can see if you're reaching for something to work instantaneously, you can see how you would be disappointed, and then you reach for something else, because in your mind the anxiety is heightening and you can't consciously understand why it's getting higher. It's almost like a storm out of control in your body, and you don't realise that you're the one who's creating this storm by trying to take it away. You know, it's a very strange concept to understand, but yet when you get the basics, you think, well, of course, you know, of course that would be the way it would work. So I'm not going to go into detail with because obviously you can see there's a lot to talk about here. I am actually just going to attach a little video at the end of this, just to show you some of the products, some of the products that I was using as the crutch. And then you can have a little look for yourself. So I used melatonin a lot, melatonin, different, where are we? So I tended to use, so I started on 3 milligrams, and then I went up to 10 milligrams. In the end, I was on 40 milligrams of melatonin, and I'd really convinced myself that, you know, because with melatonin, if you research melatonin, there's all this anti-disease benefits to it as well. So not only had I attached it to the sleep element, but I'd also like convinced myself, well, you know, while I'm going through this, I won't get disease. And then you can imagine how that would loop on to something else, because, you know, you've created this like, oh, potentially I could get a disease. And so it kind of like, you feel like you're comforting yourself. Like I've said in the last video, I used the analogy of thinking of you know, making the phone call to going back into the hospital to okay that I potentially could do that. But then there's all a cascade, a knock-on effect with the rest of you thinking about disease, and what about then if I get disease, and what about, you know, if this happens. So by comforting, you can see how that would sort of, you know, link into so many other things, right? True calm, like I had, I mean, again, you know, amazing products for people who are not highly anxious, amazing. And I had that much of this in the evening that you know, I was having diarrhea, because that's what it kind of like really acted as a laxative, which again created another problem. So you can see how then I was giving myself diarrhea, and then that's something else to worry about. So I'm worrying about the anxiety, and then like, oh my god, I've got the plops, for want of a better word. So again, it's just highlighting to you how by trying to comfort and self-comfort, I was creating so many other problems. Valerian root, amazing, you know, that it grows wild in our country, and I think for people to make a tincture of it, to make it as a ceremony to do these things, I think is absolutely amazing. And I still stand by all these, you know, natural herbs and natural things that we could put into our body, but like through food, you know, valerian grows wild, and we could, you know, make that into a tea, or even sprinkle it on our food. It is a much better way and a more natural way to do it. However, you know, again, I'm not knocking. I use valerian so much, and it almost kind of like, I felt with valerian, it really numbed my feelings, which I was searching for that. I was searching for anything that would numb me from the physical pain I was going through, the mental pain I was going through, the sheer exhaustion that I was going through. I would look for these things to numb. Hops I used a lot, and then the neurotransmitters. So L-tryptophan. There's where's the L-dopa somewhere. L-tyrosine, L-tryptophan, L-dopa I used a lot. GABA. So these are all neurotransmitters, and this is all to try and balance myself out. Feeling, again, it kind of, with the neurotransmitters, even though they're natural and it's a natural way of doing it, in effect it's still like an antidepressant, because it's still that same ethos of having some sort of imbalance, and then you're trying to balance it back out, and it's not a healthy way to look at it, because we when we're healthy, and when we're sleeping, and when we're, you know, functioning like the way we should be, things are balanced for our particular body, you know. And like I was saying to you, I tend to be more like a type A person, and that's due to my life experiences, but also I just, when I'm on the go constantly, I just feel that is where I tend to live. You know, I probably do live more in my masculine role in that, being a doer. But there's, the point I'm trying to make is, it's not anything to do with balancing yourself out, which I had to learn the hard way with, because, you know, I was convinced at one point that it was the neurotransmitters that I had to rebalance, and again, just chasing for that joy. So obviously, say with the magnesium, there's different types of magnesium. So magnesium L-threonate was the one that I liked the most, because I started on magnesium citrate, and there's different forms, but that would give me the plops. And I know that I was, and like I was saying to you with supporting the body, when you're going through periods of stress, in the last video I mentioned, you do need to make sure you're supporting, and you're replenishing the minerals. That's really important. However, you know, I was overusing it again, and especially with the, like I say, with the magnesium citrate, it gives you the plops. So so yeah, I was just like, you know, in a total mess, really, guys, in a total mess. But that became my preferred magnesium. But however, I just overdid everything. There was no balance. L-theanine and lemon balm. Again, this has got a great reputation. It's amazing, but not the way I was using it. I was using it with true calm. I would get up in the middle of the night and just like dose myself up on this stuff, just in hopes that it would, you know, put me out my misery and knock me out. Like, I was looking, really, I was so desperate for sleep. I was just looking for something to knock me out, you know. And I remember just having those feelings, you know, in such desperation for sleep, that I would have literally have done anything. And again, so, you know, like the neurotransmitters with St. John's wort, again, more of a natural way of doing, having an antidepressant in effect. But again, like there's toxicity levels to St. John's wort. I mean, I'm not going to go into my feelings about antidepressants and the knock-on effect with that, because there's a payoff, there's a knock-on effect, there's detrimental effects. Again, I will say I'm not a medical doctor, but from my own experience, and like with St John's wort, so all this that I was doing, I'll make a point of saying, was overburning, over toxicity for my liver. You could only imagine what my liver was trying to process, and it's such a burdened organ anyway. It's so overburdened with our modern day society. But if you can imagine the amounts of stuff that I was putting in, it was just such an overburden, and 5-HTP again with the neurotransmitters. I'm convinced that was going to heal me. Kava, again, this is what tribal people would use and use in ceremonies, and it's very effective the way that they do it. It's very calming. It transports them. It's something that they use, and it's very, very healing, but they use it in such a different way to the way that we would. It's very symbolic of the way that they live their life. And so I was convinced again that was the missing link. I would use this rescue remedy. Like, I would take it everywhere. I was ordering bottles and bottles and bottles of this, and I would use it just 10, 15 times a day, just 6 squirts, like constantly, almost like I had OCD, because it's almost, when you logically think about it, like, oh, it's going to work this time, but obviously it hasn't. This is why I needed to do it over and over again, and obviously it's just the desperation to get out of the pain, the sheer pain that you're going through, emotionally, physically. Passion flower was another one, great product. That was in tablet. I mean, you can get so many of these in like loose powder, or different type tinctures, different types of forms of ingesting them. But this was just mainly how I did it. I mean, magnesium oil, I used that once. I sprayed it all over my body because I heard that it was a quicker way to get into the body, which is right. I came out in a massive rash. So you can imagine how that heightened my anxiety. You understand what I'm trying to get at, right? So everything that I was doing, all these new things that I was pumping into my body, I was getting like spots come up, and then stressing about spots because, what's brought on this spot? Oh, this anxiety is going to turn me into a spot fest, and I'm going to have diarrhea for the rest of my life, and then I'm never going to be able to sleep. You can just imagine what it was doing. So, I mean, I can now, and even though, like I said, it's real time, I didn't sleep a wink last night, so I'm very much in this reality right now. I'm not talking from past tense. I'm actually, this time around, I want it to be really raw and authentic, and I suppose see for myself the changes that I've made. So in effect, it'll help me because it's guiding me to say, but Jen, you're going through this now and it's uncomfortable. Accept, right? When you ruminate, when you look forward, try and just keep balanced with that, and realise how different you're doing it this time, and how that these things make a massive difference, that I'm not running, I took my daughter to school and I just had a uncomfortable, horrible feeling within my body and my mind, like, my brain was saying to me, how long, you know, it's a rainy day and it's raining in my heart type of thing, and oh, how long am I going to have to feel this? And then I have to quickly just say to myself, Jen, it's the way you feel now, it's not the rest of your life. This time is going to be fleeting, but don't stand in its way when it's trying to pass through you. Don't stand in its way and say, this is scaring me so much, so your body and your brain brings on more anxiety. It's like, okay, well, logically, if I just accept it and I just say to myself, it's just right now, and we go through this as humans. We've got a body, we've got a brain that breaks. We go through cycles of not sleeping. We go through things that are very uncomfortable in life, and then we move out of that space and on to the next one. So I'm not going to stand in its way. It's not going to feel great right now. Life isn't perfect right now, but you have to say to yourself, but when this is past, the sun will come out again. And I'm talking to you, and I'm reassuring myself at the same time. And even down to, I think I'll wrap that up. You kind of get the gist really with what I mean about the self-comfort and trying to take it away in the moment. But even how we do things, even I use this as a crutch. So like calming tea in the evening, I would have like a lot of this, because chamomile, we hear that, you know, that's very calming and so and cleansing and flushing. And so I started having like 3 cups of this at night, and then obviously I'm going to the toilet more, both ways, parallel. Can't believe I'm telling you all my secrets. I'm so honest. But yeah, so so then I would go to, I'd need the toilet more, so I would just get up in the night anyway. I mean, I wasn't, granted, you know, obviously I wasn't sleeping because of all this, but that's not the point. The point is, in your haste, even with something subtle like chamomile tea, you're still creating another problem that you have to deal with. So, you know, now I just sit in that space. I'm not going to have any of that. I'm not going to reach for the calming tea. Granted, like I said to you, with regards to the caffeine, I'm on green tea now, which I know is good for my body, and I cap it after 10:30 in the morning, because I know it's got 11 hours sort of half-life, which means that it'll be out my system in 11 hours. However, I'm not going to hold on to these notions, because with nutritional knowledge and with knowledge of the body in this way, it can be a real blessing, but it can also work in the opposite way, because you're aware and you put these rules and regulations on yourself, if that makes sense. So even though I tend to, and we all do this, we all have these rules and regulations that we place on ourselves, whether we know it or whether we consciously know it or not. But however, if I break my rule, I say to myself, but it's healthy to break your rules, Jen, because you need to be more pliable. You need to be more, you need to go with the flow more. If I keep putting these rules and regulations in place, I can't go out if I haven't got so-and-so, or, you know, if I forget my vitamins, because I like to take ordinarily before going through this sleep issue again, because of the way that I look at the human body, and I want to be healthy, and, you know, I want my hair and my skin to look good and all the rest of it, which is a natural thing. You know, I would take my vitamins out with me to have food, and then, you know, going through this, if I forget, then again, it's acceptance. Like, Jen, you've just got to deal with it. It's not going to kill you. It's one time that you've gone out for food, or, you know, I haven't ordered my vitamins and minerals in, and I run out. You know, just order it in, don't panic. But this is the way it makes you feel when you're going through anxiety. You want to keep everything very close. You want to feel like you've got enough of your comforts. So in effect, it's good to be out of your comfort zone. I'll give you another example of this is when I went into the hospital, and obviously the array of things that I was doing. Could you imagine what that would do? Because I couldn't take any of it in. Could you imagine what that did to me mentally? I was like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to? Because in my mind, I was functioning because of all this that I was putting in. Could you imagine what it felt like to me to think, I can't take any of that in? You know, all those comforts that I'd put in my mind were comforts. And then, so when I went into the hospital and I had to have their food, and even though I chose wisely with what I drank and what I ate for me, I still couldn't have any of these vitamins and minerals and all the rest of it. But I still was able to heal. So that just shows me, and I hope that it shows you, that we don't need these things. It's very healthy for us to just say, I haven't bought these things and I haven't got them at the minute, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing, because this is teaching me that I don't need these things for me to still breathe, for me to still survive. And when I can, I'll pick it up and support the body again, but not do all this, not do any of this. So I'm going to attach a little video with some of these products on there. Not all of them, because that would go on for quite a while, wouldn't it? And yeah, just finishing off by just hoping that this has given you a bit of an insight, a bit of foresight into accepting and not needing to change the moments that we have to just sit. Again, I'll reiterate, just sitting in those moments, and they'd feel not very nice. And granted, you don't know how long these things are going to last, but they won't last forever. And the quicker that you accept where you are, because it's the nervous system, like I've said, it's the sensitization of the nervous system. I'll finish by saying this. I know I said that before, but bear with, because I haven't slept. But so, for example, things don't always logically make sense to me. So I had such a great day yesterday. I felt like I was on point. I was doing Jen. Timing was great. You know, everything just slotted into place exactly how I wanted it yesterday. And I was chilled. I was relaxed. I was saying to myself, because this is how I naturally talk to myself, the universe has got me. The universe is teaching me to be confident within myself again. I'm trusting in the universe, because I am very spiritual, and this is the way I deal with things. And I feel good. I know that I'm on this trajectory of getting better, and you know, it's the process, but I trust the universe. And I was so relaxed. I went to bed and I was very relaxed, like I was falling asleep downstairs. I wasn't thinking about anything particular. There was no worries. In fact, I looked at everything with my life, and I was every area of it. I thought, Grace, you know, things are good. Like the kids are good. you know, I've got my car to be able to travel. I've got my brain, which is helping me. I've got everything. I've got great friends, you know. I've got great friends. I've got great support. I'm loved. I'm nurtured. I'm looked after. You know, all this comforting stuff. I didn't feel anxious at all, and I couldn't go to sleep. And there was nothing particular I was thinking about. But this is why you haven't always got to understand it. Like I've got up today and I was in the shower and I said, God, I don't understand. Like we were working together great as a team. My God of energy. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. So my God of energy. I said, God, you know, I thought that I was doing the right things, and then for no particular reason I haven't slept again, and then I simply thought to myself, but it is my nervous system, and it's got its own ideas at the moment, and I've got to accept that. Like, things don't always need to make logical sense. And when you're going through this anxiety journey, a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it's sticking in there and knowing that, like I was saying to you, it's going to do this. My journey is going to be like this. It's not going to go like that. The trajectory is not going to go all up. And I have to remind myself when I'm in these moments that it doesn't make logical sense to me. Yeah, I was doing all the right things. Yes, I wasn't even anxious before I went to bed. But there is the nervous system and the subconscious programming, and it's only time that your body needs to know that the tiger's not there. It's a time thing, and it's gonna work out your system in its own time, in the universe's time, not the time that Jen wants it to. Because, you know, it's so easy for me to just go, hurry it along. I mean, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready. You know, I've even thought of giving away my secrets here, but I've even thought to myself, going forward, Jen, you're the anxiety queen. Like, that's who you are. That is going to be your niche. That's your hook. Of course, like, why wouldn't I have thought about that? I know so much about anxiety. Like, this is something I've lived, I've gone through. Oh my God, anxiety queen, let's do this, you know. Let's heal already. Come on, universe, like, heal me now, because I want to get on with helping people and doing what I've been put here to do. But everything's got its time. Everything has got its time, and I don't have that sort of power. I wish I did. I wish we all did. But it really is just walking in every day to healing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and it's been very enjoyable for me, particularly because it's shown me that I can still be present and do this sort of thing and put this material out, even though I'm not feeling the best within, even though it's real time and I'm dealing with stuff. But I'm not going to run away from it. I'm going to walk into the fear. Like, when I was thinking about doing this video, I thought, I'm fearful of it because I'm so shattered. I'm not going to be able to talk properly. I'm not going to be able to express what I want to. Like, obviously I've had no sleep, and then it just shows you about fear, because when I've actually done it, I'm jibby jabbering on. I'm being typical Jen. I'm like, can't shut up. But this is why we've got to not run away from the fear. We have to walk into it. It's only then that we can see our true strength and potential. So I really am going to end this and attach that video at the end. I'm not going to put links because I'm putting that video in. So I think that's sufficient. But I really hope that you've had benefit from this video, and I think I'm just going to keep doing videos on anxiety because it is where I'm at right now, and I feel like going through it and talking about my feelings in real time is going to be beneficial to others.